to the Knitting Game and Other Stuff. I'm your host, Leslie, and this is episode 29 for August 22nd, 2012. Well, welcome to everyone, and thank you for joining me today. If you're a returning viewer or if you're brand new to the show, thank you for coming, and I really appreciate it. And I hope we can have some fun over the course of the show and you get to follow along. So let's start. First of all of my show notes, all the links to the vendors and projects and web pages that I talk about here in the episode can be found at myordinaryjourney.com. That is my blog. It's all one word. And you can find out how to get in touch with me and all that other good stuff. So if you want to learn more information about some of the patterns that I knit or some of the vendors, some of the products that I use, just head on over to the blog and you'll find everything and more that you ever wanted to know. So I have some welcomes this week. We had 4 new members join, so I want to say hello to these guys. So we've got Jeanette 93 and okay, I'm not going to be able to pronounce this and I am so sorry. Ursulavetsa, I am sure I got that so wrong. And I'm sorry. I really feel bad when I can't pronounce someone's name. Then we have Debbie Knits 2, so that is Debbie. And Mac, she's Maggie. And I just want to say thank you to you guys for joining the group and joining along. So I hope you have some fun. So we have 2 birthdays this week. Maggie, Mac, who just joined the group, her birthday is this week. So you got a 2 for Maggie. Welcome and happy birthday. And Stephen, also known as Dramatic Knits, one of my fellow podcasters and member of the group, happy birthday. I hope you have a great week this week. So I have a lot of shout outs and thank yous this week, and I would like to say hello and thank you to Laugh, Love, and Knit. She is a designer of charity socks, so her sock designs are for charity, her proceeds, and this week I helped her create her first ebook, so that was special fun, and I really did enjoy that, and it gets my graphic creative juices going. It's one thing that I really enjoy that is kind of like one of those side things that for some reason growing up and in college and all that sort of thing, I always really liked. Well, as a knitter, you know, the different colors and picking your colors and your patterns and things like that. I really enjoy the color theory of it all, and I just kind of like that thing of making things look just so, you know, making them look right and balanced and everything. So I helped Megan put together an ebook. It's a collection of 5 of her patterns. Several of them are toe up and cuff down. So it's a really great bargain. It's $15, and all of the proceeds of the book sale goes to charity. So, I mean, you really can't miss. It's $3 a pattern, basically, and all of the sales after the fees and everything go to charity. So it was a project that I was really, really happy to be a part of, and I hope I get to do more of that sort of work in the future. So check it out. There's a link to her designer page, so you can pick up that ebook. It's a really great, if I do say so myself, looking ebook. All right, so on to the question of the week, which of course always comes from my real life experience. And being that I worked closely with Megan on this ebook, Her sock patterns go to various different causes depending on what the inspiration for the sock was, and all of them have a really great backstory of why she chose to design the socks she did for the charities that she did. So the question of the week this week is, what type of charity work organization most is held closest to your heart? Which ones do you gravitate towards? Do you actually, I don't know, you can run the gambit. So you can give money to organizations like the Red Cross, and that would help things like disaster recovery and relief. You could donate food. You could donate your time in an organization to help keep their overhead costs low. You could donate your time in knitting. I know you've got your preemie hats, your chemo hats, you've got your hats, scarves, and gloves for homeless and disadvantaged children. I mean, it goes all over the place. So what charity is your favorite to work with, and why? I think that's really very inspirational to know the personal backstories about why an organization is held so closely by an individual. So there's your question. Let's see. Next we have the answer of the week. Now, I only got one question this week, and it was a doozy. And I'm not quite ready to answer it yet because it is so big and grand. It was, if time, money, talent were no object, what knitting project would be the ultimate to tackle? I haven't found it yet because it just hasn't been so grand. There's one that's close, and I was looking for it, but I didn't have time to find it. But even that one I don't think really does the trick. So I'm going to keep looking. So I'm not ready to completely answer that question yet. Alrighty, so on to the knitting game. While everybody's here, we are closing out round 2, and I will announce the new patterns for round 3 of this go around of the knitting game. So this evolution, what I'm doing is I'm picking patterns from my Ravelry library that are free Ravelry downloads, so anybody can get them. And I'm doing shawls because I had such a fun time doing my last knit, and it was so fast that I couldn't help it. I really enjoyed it. So I picked shawls again, and there were 6 instead of 5 patterns that really were all very different, but all very eye-catching. There was some element to the project that really caught my eye. There was a technique or something that I wanted to learn or try out, so I figured that this would be a great opportunity to tackle some of those. So the winner of round 2, we had the Haruni by Emily Ross. Up against the Easy 100th Anniversary Camping Half Circle Shawl by Mua Knit. Now, the winner of round 2 of the knitting game and the shawl going on to the next round is the Easy 100th Anniversary Camping Half Circle Shawl with 60% of the vote. And this was nothing to laugh at because 60% of the vote went for this shawl, and I had probably twice as many votes during this round of the knitting game than my next most voted knitting game. So I think this was an overwhelming, resounding, I think more people voted for the camping shawl, just the camping shawl, than voted in the past few rounds total combined for both. So I was really impressed with how very engaged everyone was, and it makes me happy to know that folks are watching, and well, they may not be watching, but at least they're going and voting. So makes me feel happy. So, and it's nice because I haven't seen this one favorited a lot, so that's another thing that I looked for in some of these patterns, are ones that aren't in everyone's queue. So it gives a little love to somebody else out there that has a really great design, something that really kind of takes my breath away. I get to highlight somebody that may not otherwise have been seen. So I feel really neat, or feel really good that it's a neat thing that I can do for somebody. So yes, the Easy 100th Anniversary Camping Shawl will now move on to round 3 of the knitting game. So the new pattern that I picked to go up against the camping shawl is the Wingspan. Okay, now everybody, I'm sure, has seen the Wingspan, and this is one of those shawls that I always thought I would not cast on, and there's a couple of them. So the Wingspan, the Hitchhiker, the Color Affection, everybody does them. Now why though? I've come to realize that it's because they are really great patterns. They look really awesome, and there's something about them that you just can't help. Now, especially with the Wingspan, there is the basic pattern, but there's so many different variations that you can do with this. You can change yarns, you can do lace patterns inside of the triangle sections. I mean, you can really take the basic vanilla Wingspan pattern and embellish it and make it your own. So that's not to say that I would do that. Probably, at least on the first go around, I would just knit it straight if I were to knit this one, if this one were to win. But I think it's a really interesting, and let me tell you, the ones I really love are the ones that are blocked like severely. Like it's got like pointy points. Like it could be the edge of a bat wing. Those are the ones that really kind of take my breath away. So right now, voting for these will close on August 29th, right around 3 p.m., 3, 4, just right around there, a week from today. So some of the, I guess, highlights from the different shawls. The camping shawl uses a fingering weight yarn on size 8 needles. So those are pretty big needles. That's some pretty big lace. And it requires 750 to 850 yards of yarn. So that's going to be your typical sock yarn dyer, indie dyer. You're gonna need 2 hanks for this one particular shawl because it's so large. In comparison, the Wingspan again takes a fingering weight yarn, but only on a size 4 needle. It's a little bit more compact, maybe not quite as airy. And this shawl, the Wingspan, only takes up to 465 yards of yarn. So half the yarn. So you could probably get away if you had enough. 492, if somebody had 492, 462, right around there, you would have enough to do a Wingspan. And typically that's about what I see for yardages. Sometimes you top out at 400, so you would need a second skein. Maybe you could buy a short one, I don't know. So those are the 2 that are up for a vote for next week. So tell me what you think. The camping shawl versus the Wingspan. I'm very excited. Either one, it's going to be a treat. I can't wait. All right, so an update really quickly of one of my previous knitting game winners. As you know, I completely frogged the, I'll grab it here. I frogged the stalagmite socks. I was not happy with how they were coming out. Too much fiddly. I knit in the car mostly, or while I'm watching TV and trying to negotiate a cable needle, and doing several cables on a single round was just too much. So here's the sock. And what's, I guess, sad is I had already made the heel turn. I knit the heel and everything, and I had done the gusset, and I was doing my decrease. I was starting on the top of the foot. I had done all that, and I just, you either got it or you don't. I let them sit, and I just never felt compelled to go back. So here is, this is Pagewood Farms. It's the Denali in the Indian corn colorway. This is a fingering weight yarn. There's enough yardage for it that I could do something else. So this, who knows, maybe my Wingspan, if that is the pattern that wins. So this is only half of it. This is about a half of a sock. I've got the other half that's caked in my bag. So it has been frogged. Now, the cute story here is my husband asked me what I was doing, and I said, I'm frogging my sock. And he's like, you're frogging your sock? I'm like, yeah, I'm frogging my sock. He's like, what is that? I said, well, when you get to a point in a project that you either don't want to finish or you've made a mistake, you rip out, you take the needles out and you rip out the stitches. So you rip it and you rip it. So we call it frogging. So he comes over, and I'm sitting on the sofa, and he comes to give me a kiss, or what I thought was a kiss, and he starts picking at my eyebrows, and I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm frogging your eyebrows. He's trying to be very helpful and pick up the lingo, but sometimes he just comes up with the wackiest stuff. I'm frogging your eyebrows. I'm like, okay, whatever. So that was my little funny story. Probably only I think it's funny, but oh well, it's still to me. So the other knitting game project that I had on the needles was my Sayuri sweater. And I don't know about this one, folks. I've done too much work on it to frock it, but I'm a little worried that this thing is going to be big enough to place over a house to do a termite fogging, because this sucker is huge. So where I am with this one is I knit from up the back like the pattern calls for. I knit to the shoulders. I cast off the stitches across the back for the neck hole, and then across the right front, no, the left front, whatever front. On a front, I did increases, so it will create the V-neck. So I worked. I'm happy to report that I have finally finished one of the sleeves. So this is one of the sleeves. This is the right or the left sleeve. So I'll turn it around so you can see it. But it is only half of the sleeve. So this part goes from the cuff down by the wrist. Even though I shortened the sleeves, it didn't shorten them that much. And then it's part of this is the shoulder. So from this stitch marker here over to my needle where it's being held, that is the shoulder. So here, from where these stitches, where the needles end, to this stitch marker, this goes across the back of my neck. Okay, so hopefully you're seeing what I'm talking about now. So this is the arm for my right side. Okay, so let's see, where am I? This is the arm for my right side. It's a lot of yarn. It has been a lot of knitting. I almost have to stand up to show this to you, but I'm not going to because that's kind of scary too. So the way this works, this is the edge of the cuff. So, because this is a seamless knit, believe it or not, it's going to be joined in the round here on this provisional cast on that's across the back. So this is how it works, folks. So Yeah, I don't know about this. So here is the sleeve. So, like I said, it goes up and back. And I'm really not good at this. Yeah, so this is the whole sleeve. I'm sorry I'm fiddling so much. But what you do is you gather it up, the two ends. So that is how long the sleeve will be. If you can see the decreases back here for the arms, the armpits down here, it's back here. So this comes across like this, and it's a V-neck. So this will all be one sleeve. And it does, I'm so glad I shortened it, because otherwise it would have been down over my hand, I think. So that is how it goes. I know some people were like, how in the world is this going to come together? This is how it is. So the other problem is my gauge must be really off, because this is supposed to be a V-neck that meets probably about here, and the way it is, this is going to meet down at my belly button. I am, yeah, gonna need to wear like a tank top shell underneath it, or give everybody a show, and I don't think anybody wants to see that. That'll be scary. So the next step in the sweater is to join the other, another ball of yarn and knit down the left front to create the other side of the V-neck. And then once I get done with that, then I join it again, and I start knitting in the round. And once I do that, then I start the little bit of stitching that goes on. It's supposed to be right underneath the chest, but along around the waist. This is going to end up down around my hips. This is going to be like a sweater dress, I think, by the time I get done. But hey, you know what? That's okay too. If I've got enough yarn for it, then whatever. I'll do what I can, and if it doesn't fit, then maybe I'll rip it out and start over again and knit a smaller size. And if I lose weight, or if my daughter wants to wear it, yeah, it's going to, it costs so much for the yarn that I am just never, it's an heirloom item at this point. The yarn that I'm using is, it's a Cascade Venezia. It's a wool silk blend, and it is gorgeous, and obviously the color is beautiful. The needles I'm using are my signatures, my only pair of signatures that I picked up from Maryland Sheep and Wool. They are the stilettoed tips, but because they're the bigger length, they are, the tips are actually the same ratio as what you would get on a smaller size needle, but because the needle itself is larger, because it's an US 8 5mm needle, the tip is not what you would maybe think of as one of the stiletto tips, but it is. And it is the longer needle length, because I have carpal tunnel, and I was able to pick these up at Maryland Sheep and Wool. They were actually able to see how I knit, and they were able to recommend the longer sized shaft on the needle, and let me tell you, it makes all the difference in the world. I can fly through this project, and I have. Once I picked those up and I started knitting on it again, it just goes so fast. Alrighty, so let me give you, that is all for the knitting game. So for this round of voting, don't forget, it's August 29th at about 3 p.m. I'm going to close the voting. Of course, there's always going to be links. You can go to the blog. You can do it, you know, find me through YouTube or from Blip. I am on iTunes. However, my iTunes does not want to work. I can't launch it. It freezes every time. I don't know what the problem is. So I can't check ratings or reviews. So I'm sorry if you get me on iTunes, if you're having issues. So if that is the case, you can always go to Blip straight, or you can go to the blog straight, or you can go to YouTube, because I post it on those various areas. Okay, so moving on to some of my other stuff. like I said previously, I really enjoyed knitting my petal shawlette, and I was able to pick up my very first shawl that I started knitting after the first of the year in January, but stalled out when I started doing the knitting game, and I just didn't think that I would be able to pick it back up and knit in the car or wherever I was. I was having real issues when I first started the shawl, and by doing the petal shawlette, that was able to give me a bit of an education, and I was able to figure some stuff out, how to read charts a little bit better, feel a little bit more confident about how things go. So I was able to pick up my shawl again. So this is the, I'm in the middle of a row, but I don't think you can still see the pattern. This is my 10 in 2010 shawl. It is knit with Madeline Tosh Prairie. It's a lace weight single ply yarn, and this is the Baltic colorway. So I talked last week about how I had this color and then the oxblood, and I couldn't remember what the third was. It's Byzantine. So it's kind of like this. I have a blue, and then the oxblood is a deep red, and then the Byzantine is a very deep purple. With this one, I am more than halfway through with the body repeats. And as you can see, it's not hard. And you kind of get into a rhythm. I can't memorize the pattern in mass and whole, but for each row, after I do one or two, I remember what I'm doing and I pick it up, and it's easy that way to memorize. So once you get going, you kind of got it figured out. So I've finished 4 repeats. I'm in the middle of my 5th. I have to do a total of 7 plus 1. I don't know why they just didn't say 8, but whatever. So I'm a little bit more than halfway done with the body, and then I do a transition chart, and then I do the edging, and I'm done. So that's good. And then I'm knitting these with my Chalgu red lace, size 4. I think they're like 42-inch cables. I know it says someplace, somewhere, maybe not. But I love these needles. These are almost as good as the signatures. The only thing that these don't do that the signatures do is the tips don't spin. And I really kind of wish I had that, but other than that, yeah, these are awesome. So I love them. So that's my only other knitting that I'm doing. Right now I have 2 spinning projects that I didn't get to work on this week because I was doing other things. I cut out and finished sewing my niece a pair of shorts that hopefully she'll enjoy. They were out of a very heavyweight, beautiful though, linen, and she just started school yesterday, so hopefully she'll get to wear that. So I was sewing, and we spent, I kid you not, 8 hours on Sunday watching season 2 of Raising Hope. So the episodes ran back to back to back to back to back, like 8 hours. It was great. It was a really great Sunday of just sitting there and not really doing anything. Saturday we did yard work, and I'm still kind of hurting, I think, a little bit in my back from that. So kind of laid off the spinning. So I'm doing a Gale's Art Polworth, and that's going to be a 3-ply, and then a Wool Gatherings Merino. I don't know how I'm going to apply it. I'm just spinning it up and just doing whatever. It'll be fun. Alrighty, so the last part of the show I am super excited about, and if you follow me on Plurk or my blog, you know that I said that I had a special announcement at the end of the show. So here it is, guys. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay. First off, well, you know what? No, I'm going to skip that because I'm going to move on to what I'm really excited about. As you may know, and if you don't, I work very closely with the charity. It's a 503c or 503c3 charity up in Washington, D.C. It's the Totally Committed Community Outreach Center. and I love working with them. My family, and I mean my kids and my husband and my nieces and nephew and my niece's boyfriend, and the whole family gets involved, and we go up to DC. We help feed the homeless. We go up there and we volunteer in their center to pass out food from the food pantry. We do a lot of administrative work and organization work for the charity. So I thought I would reach out to some indie dyers, and I was able to team up with Lollipop Yarn, and she has given the TCCOC a ball of her self-striping sock yarn to raffle off, and I could not be happier. So here is how it works. On the TCCOC website, not my website at all, on the TCCOC website, there is a post, and there are, you can go to either donate here, or you could go to the sticky post that describes what we're doing and everything. And you can see pictures of the yarn, and I'll show you in a second. But what happens is, for every $5 donation that you make to the TCCOC using the raffle cart, the raffle entry, that's one entry for the raffle. So if you buy you buy 2 raffle entries for the yarn, that would be $10. If you wanted to buy 5 entries, that would be $25. So for every $5 that you spend on raffle entries for the yarn, that is an entry into the drawing. So what will you get? Oh my gosh. Okay. So Lollipop has been so kind and so gracious. She has donated this ball of yarn, and let me tell you, I covet this so much. Isn't it just absolutely, oh, it takes my breath away. So this is her trail run. So you get 6 rows of Midnight Mile, which is this really nice dark color right here. Then you get 6 rows of Run Forest Run, this right here. Then you get 6 rows of Elevation Emerald, which is this one right here. So this is going from darkest to light. And 6 rows of Marathon Mineral, which is this right here. So if you would like to possibly win this wonderful squishy ball of yarn and get it out of my house, because I love it so much, $5. You could win this with just $5. And as a bonus, remember that ebook that I talked about at the top of the show? If you are the winner of this wonderful yarn, you will also be gifted the pattern book. So that is a really great package deal. Sock yarn, sock pattern book. Just saying. So if you would like the opportunity to win this wonderful yarn from Lollipop Yarns, go to the TCCOC website, and there's the web address right there. It is tccoc-dc.org. The very first post is all you need. It explains everything. The winner of the yarn draw will be announced on September 5th, on my September 5th show. So it'll be random number generated, and I will draw for it live on the air. So please, I'm really excited. I hope this works out very well for our organization that I feel very strongly for. So that was my big announcement. I hope everyone is as excited about it as I am. I can talk, I promise. So that is all I have for this week. So don't forget to vote. Don't forget to enter the raffle. Don't forget to play the game. Bye.